Welcome to the Two Steps Ahead podcast, starring Robert Sean McGrew and Raul Ruiz, talking business, strategy, and growth, helping you stay 2 steps ahead. Let's get to work.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Two Steps Ahead podcast. I'm Robert Sean McGrew.
I'm Raul Ruiz.
And we've missed you guys. We've missed each other as well. Raul, I lived through Raul vicariously with all these trips you're making, man. I've been wanting to get out of town, haven't done that just yet, but I've got something coming up, and on the next one we'll talk about that.
Nice, perfect. That sounds great.
But today, what do we want to get to today?
Today, let's talk about the inner circle. What do you think? Your inner circle, my inner circle, our inner circle. What does that look like?
That's pretty deep.
I think so, yeah.
And it depends on which layer we're talking about too, right? So yes, let's get into it. Let's talk about the inner circle. And that means a lot of things to a lot of people. Some people, that means your family. And that should be your tightest circle, right? Because that's the people that you work with, that you're around every day, that you see every morning and night, and they support you through all different things, right? And then you've got your work family or work circle, or acquaintances and friends outside of work, in the community, in church, in social gatherings being a network. We've talked about networking before. And so we've got all these layers of circles. But what does having a circle really mean, though?
Yeah, like you said, there's layers that you encounter in life, right? Whether it's your family, your work family, your friends, confidants that you can actually speak to at any given time and lean on them for advice. It's very important to go ahead and have that structure available for you to be able to go ahead and communicate with individuals that either can relate, understand, or provide feedback that can assist you for whatever it is, whether it's personal, professional, whatever that looks like.
I think there's one key element there that you mentioned, feedback. Feedback is very important, and it doesn't matter what the feedback is. Sometimes we want to hear the good stuff. Sometimes we want to validate what we're thinking or feeling. But that's not what feedback is really about. Feedback is giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, and with that said, sometimes the feedback is not even necessary. It's having somebody to talk to and listen. Get your emotions out, get your feelings out, whatever that may be. Just somebody to listen, to be able to vent to. It's important to be able to have that availability with individuals that can be there for you to listen to you. That's very important.
I agree. Being able to voice yourself and vent and get things off is super important. And if you don't have somebody like that, you need to find somebody. And it can be someone within your family. It can be your neighbor. It could be your friend Raul. It can be somebody you've just met recently. But the piece about confiding is that you trust that person. One, they're going to listen, and just about anybody can listen if they really want to. But two, we talk about feedback again. If you're really wanting that person to respond to you, are you ready to accept what comes your way? Because sometimes we want to feel good. And sometimes in order to feel good, we have to hear or feel the bad. Sometimes it's not necessarily a bad. Sometimes we take criticism as negative, but sometimes that criticism is really a positive, feels negative at the time, but could really be turned into turning us around.
Exactly. Things don't always go great, right? Things don't always go bad. You need to have the good with the bad with the good. It has to coexist just so you know if you're headed in the right direction, right? Because we don't all know everything. We don't. This is a deep conversation, but I do want to go ahead and take a step back and say, today we got the memo. We're wearing white, and I think the background's kind of white as well. So, hey, hopefully you can see us.
I was just thinking the same thing right before you said it. This was pure coincidence, heavenly in some ways.
Yes,
it's kind of
absolutely
weird in that way. But again, coming back to where we're talking about, we're part of each other's circle, and we do get together and we do talk outside of just doing this podcast itself. But it's one of those things too that we receive each other. Sometimes it's listening, sometimes it's giving that feedback, and sometimes it's the two of us getting together and talking to you.
Exactly. It's all venting. It really is all talking. Again, communicating, right? What you want to say in a way that makes you feel better about yourself and hopefully makes you feel better listening to us as well, brings things in perspective, right? So that's what it's all about.
And so, getting back to that inner circle, it's very important. And let's start with family first. So your family, we're both married, and so part of our circle is our wives. And it should be within a marriage. You should have your circle together between you and your spouse, and being able to work through things, be able to talk through things, being able to get past things, being able to fix things, solve things, and come up with things too. Like we were just talking earlier about some of the trips that Ro was planned and how him and his wife talk about that. I've got something planned with my wife coming up as well. But that comes with your circle communicating, and that's the crux. We've talked about communication before, but in your circle, it's very important that you have open communication. And so that's one circle that we can look at. Another circle, let's talk about the work environment. The traditional work environment for most people is in an office space or in a setting of a building of some sort, whether you're in a retail store, if you're in a mechanical shop, if you're in a donut shop, or if you're at an office. Let's talk about that circle for a second.
Yeah. It varies, right, for everybody, right? Some people are going to work remote, some people are going to be hybrid, some people are going to be on site. But it's all community based, right? You have to look at every social level as a community, your own community that you can rely on, that you can communicate with, that you can share with. Again, Sean mentioned that we have gotten together and had conversations in the past. We have mutual friends who we get together with and have conversations with, have drinks with, socialize with. And then there's the other individual that you can sit with and actually vent to. That's important. Yes, we have our wives. Yes, we have our families, right? But at the same time, you need that interaction with other individuals that you can relate to or communicate with or are there to listen for. And that's very important nowadays to be able to have that availability with other individuals.
And it is very important, regardless of what your work function is, whether it's remote, in the office, hybrid, or what have you. We all go through struggles and we all go through things that pain us, that stress us, that we don't agree with, that we do agree with. But regardless, if without that communication, without that understanding, without having a circle that you can rely on and go to, you're going to not be in a good position for yourself. And this is where we've talked about taking care of yourself and mental health and being able to understand where you are at. And that's part of this conversation here of having that inner circle. Sometimes those inner circles go beyond our homes and our workspaces. And we get into community, as you mentioned. The community could be schools, like our children's schools, or you going to school and learning something, our churches, our governments, just some activities within the community itself. And when we look at inner circles, we don't necessarily think of those sometimes. We think of those of just, oh, that's just social. That's just me getting out and stuff. But why is having that inner circle, even within the community, important?
It's very important. Again, you just need that interaction. You need that availability of having individuals listen to you and talk to it. It's so important. Yeah.
I think it's not only just important, but knowing who to go to. Just like within your family, you know who you can talk to. You know that Uncle Joe who's always there and tried and true, but I can't go to Uncle Billy. And I don't have either Joe or Billy. I just made those names up to protect the innocent.
I mostly have a Jose and a Juan, so I don't know what he's talking about.
I understand. I have yeah, okay. Well, luckily, family's not going to judge me on that one. So I was trying to protect the innocent. But,
yeah, let's go with that.
But you got your confidants that you can trust, and in the community, you should have people you could talk to as well. And then that goes for all spectrums, whether it's at church, whether it's in the political realm, with your local government, state government, federal government, what have you. Having somebody that you can talk to and understand, because especially in this environment right now, there's so many things that are going on at all different levels that sometimes we just need the right person to listen to and the right person to bounce off some things. And know that you don't have to have all the answers, nor the person that you're talking to has to have the answers. Sometimes it's just talking.
That confidant, that person that you can trust with and have a conversation with, whether it's a mentor or somebody that in the past that has been there for you, just it's so important to get that out, right? Whatever that feeling is, whatever that communication is. Like I said, having a wife is great. It's having great conversations and working together and so on and so forth. But sometimes you need somebody else. You need that structure. You need that support system that that maybe, like I said, you just want to get something out. That's so important nowadays. And I think we all go through stretches in our lifetime where there's different individuals that come into our lives and then they leave our lives. And there's this one saying that says people are there for a reason, they're there for a season, and that's okay. People come and go, but at the same time, they're there for a reason, right? We don't know what that reason is, whether it's a good reason or a bad reason, whatever that is. Sometimes you just lean on each other for a short period of time, then you move on. And that's just the way life is, right? You just deal with it and you move on. But again, it's important to know these people, to talk to these people, just because you never know when they could lend an ear, right? You never know when they can give you a word of advice that could make a difference in your world, in your life. So that it's important to lean on individuals.
So you brought up another important word, the word lean, and I'm going to lean into that word. We've talked about communication and obvious communication and being able to speak to somebody. But the leaning in portion and being able to have that confidant and having that person give you feedback, honest criticism for yourself, or sometimes just that listening ear. Trust is the next word that I want to bring into here, because it's important that now that person has listened to you, or that person has given you something and giving you some feedback, some criticism, or some knowledge of some sort. You've got to keep that trust in order to keep that relationship going, in order to keep that circle going. Because if Raul sits here and tells me something and he's sharing with me in confidence, trying to help me out, and then I walk out the door and I start telling my colleagues, my friends, my acquaintances of what Raul just said and told me, do you think Raul's going to talk to me again? Probably not. He's probably going to shoot me down, or even be brutally honest the next time we do talk.
That's right.
Yeah, trust is very important in this case, and it goes both ways, right? Because if I'm telling you and I'm sharing with you something that I'm venting, trying to get off, I'm trusting that you're not going to go tell even your wife, even just somebody outside the room here, of what we're talking about, because I just need to be heard.
That's right. That's right. It's all about listening. We covered that a couple episodes back. So hopefully you've watched some of these videos down here. If not, click on another video and check us out.
Yes, please do. Please, if these things are we're sharing with you, these topics, share them with others. We are not here to be a professional podcast, sharp, witty, everything. We just want to have conversations, just like we have conversations. We want to have conversations with you. And hopefully if somebody out there is going through something and this can help them, please share that. But definitely leave us some comments, share this with other people, and look at our other episodes as well, as we are doing a digital series of different types of topics.
Absolutely. So with that said, in the next couple episodes, we're going to have guests joining us. I think we nailed this to some degree. So we're going to be working with some guests, talking about different subjects in Northwest Arkansas, around the country. And as you can see, we are not in a brewery today. So I'm having a Celsius, which burns fat. So I'm hoping that it burns a whole lot of fat. It probably won't, but we're going to give it a shot. And if not, drink water.
Yeah, especially in this heat, man.
That's right. It is hot.
Yeah. One last thing on the inner circle real quick before we wrap up. We've talked about communication. We've talked about trust. The other thing that you need to consider is consistency. Okay. And really talking to you yourself individually, looking at myself as I'm recording this as well. But you owe it to yourself to be consistent. And what I mean by that is having somebody in your circle that you can go to. And it's not just necessarily one person. Another piece that you spoke on here a few months ago was having a mentor or even a sponsor into helping you and getting to where you want. Now, a lot of us think of mentors in the professional sense, and that's important, and you should have one for that. But a mentor can also be for personal space. And sometimes people do go and pay a professional to do that, but you don't always have to do that. And not everybody can afford that, and we understand that. But having that confidant can be the person that you go to. And if you meet with them on a regular basis, once a month, every couple of weeks, once a year, whatever the rhythm is that works for you and for them, it's important to have that consistency. Just like we have a consistency with this podcast. We've got themes, topics, and recordings that we've got to do, and we've got to be consistent in it. So you yourself need to be consistent as well in order to improve yourself, to have better mental health, and to better your future.
Yeah, that's a great point. A mentor is someone that you can hit up not just for professional advice. You're right, because they've been through what you've been through, right? You talk about 10, 15, 20 years ago, they probably did that already. They've probably been through the situation, scenario, or instance that you're going through now. They can offer valuable advice. So definitely lean on them. Lean on them whenever you need some advice.
Yeah, the advice that came to mind real quick was how social media didn't exist for us, especially like when we talked about Mad Dog and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
We've been there, done that.
Mad Dog right here. Yep.
Oh man, yeah. But this is what I love about this, is that we don't have to be completely specific on topics stated and be all end all, because we're just two guys that are just trying to get you 2 steps ahead and keep you ahead of the curve, and hopefully with some sound advice that you can take home and or wherever else you will be.
Awesome. With that said, you can follow us. We'll be back hopefully next week. All right.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank
See
you.
you next time on the 2 Steps Ahead podcast.
Take care.